So this video, we're going to talk about how you solve a quadratic equation by taking the square root of both sides. So for instance, let's say we've got, I don't know, how about y equals x minus 2 squared plus 4. And let's go ahead and put a 3 in here. All right, so we've got y equals 3 times x minus 2 squared plus 4. So the whole thing when we talk about solving quadratic equations is we want to know what does x equal. So in order to find out what x equals is we have to take this thing apart bit by bit in the way that it was written. So what it says is, it says, all right, well, you got 3, and you're going to multiply that times x minus 2, which is a quantity squared, plus 4. So we have to take this thing apart. And the best way to do that, or actually the only way to do that, is to start at the end and work our way backwards. So the last thing we want to do is add 4 to it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to subtract, we're going to set it equal to 0. And we have 3x minus 2 squared plus 4. And now what we want to do is we want to subtract 4 from both sides. So if I subtract 4 from this side and I subtract 4 from this side, I end up with negative 4 equals 3 x minus 2 squared. Now, what I need to do is I need to divide both sides by 3 because, see, this is being multiplied by 3 times the quantity x minus 2 squared. So I divide by 3, and if I divide this side by 3, I divide this side by 3, and I get negative 4/3 equals x minus 2 squared. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to undo the squaring, and to do that we're going to take the square root of both sides. So if I take the square root of this side, I've got to take the square root here, but what I've got to do now is not only take the positive square root, but the negative square root. So that's going to give me plus or minus the square root of negative 4 over the square root of 3 equals x minus 2. Okay, getting close to being finished. A few more things to do, but next thing that I need to do is I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So if I add 2 here and I add 2 here, this becomes 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 over the square root of 3. So I've got 2 answers, and that's what x equals. And with a quadratic equation, I expect to have 2 answers. So all I have to do now is simplify all this square root mess. So I'm going to take it up here, and I've got 2 plus or minus square root of negative 4 over the square root of 3 equals x. Okay, 2 I don't need to worry about. The square root of negative 4. Well, that is going to end up being square root of negative 1 times the square root of 4 over the square root of 3. And we said in other videos that that equals 2 plus or minus square root of 4 is 2i over the square root of 3, and that equals x. And I can't leave a square root in the denominator, so I need to multiply this by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3, which is really 1. So I have 2 plus or minus 2i square root 3 over 3 times 3 was the square root of 9. And my last step is 2 plus or minus 2i square root 3 over square root of 9 is 3. And that's what x equals. So I have 2 answers. X equals 2 plus 2i square root 3 over 3, and x equals 2 minus 2i square root 3 over 3. And that's it.